This is problem number 81 from the 2012 AP Calculus exam. Water is being pumped into a tank at a rate of R of t equals 30 times the quantity of 1 minus e raised to the power of negative 0.16 t. And that's in gallons per minute, where t is the number of minutes since the pump was turned on. If the tank contained 800 gallons of water when the pump was turned on, how much water to the nearest gallon was in the tank after 20 minutes? Well, let's think about the function that's representing the water that's in the tank. And so I'm just going to use W of t. And it says the tank contained 800 gallons of water when the tank was turned on. So that would be W of 0 would equal 800. Now what they're asking is how much water is in the tank after 20 minutes. So they're trying to find out how much water after 20 minutes we would have. So let's go ahead and set up the information using an integral. And so we'll have W of 20 minus W of 0 will equal the integral from 0 to 20 of our rate, the rate at which it's being pumped in, which is 30 times 1 minus e to the negative 0.16 t dt. Okay, so let's go ahead and substitute in some information that we have. We know W of 0 is 800. And so I can add the 800 to the other side, and we'll get W of 20. This is the amount of water in the tank after 20 minutes will equal 800 plus the integral from 0 to 20 of 30 times the quantity of 1 minus e raised to the power of negative 0.16 t dt. Now I noticed in my problem that it says round this to the nearest gallon. So we're just going to put this in the calculator and then round it to the nearest gallon. So let's go ahead and pull up the calculator, and we'll turn that on. We'll go to y equals, we'll clear it, and we're going to put in our function. So let's put in 30 and then parentheses and 1 minus, and then second and the natural log key, which would give us our e raised to a power. We're going to have a negative and 0.16, and I'll use x for t, close the parentheses, and close our second parentheses, and hit enter. I'm going to go ahead and hit graph. And I notice in my writing here that I forgot the 0, so I'm going to go ahead and put that 0 in. Let's rewrite that, put that in, 0 to 20. All right, and so I'm going to also zoom out, and I can just hit zoom 6 first for standard and then see what the graph looks like, and maybe zoom out after that. I'm going to zoom out one more time just to get a better feel for the function. So number 3. There we go. All right, now I'm going to pull this down. And now I'm going to do Math 9 to use the information on the calculator to find an integral. So go to Math, and we could scroll down to find it. You may memorize it by the time we use it a lot. So Math 9. And we're going to put our interval in, or our, not our interval, but our function in, and I already entered it in the variables for y equals, so I can pull it up with variables, go to y variables, go to function, and it was the first one I entered, put a comma, this is with respect to x, put a comma, and we're going to put our limits of integration, which was from 0 to 20. Now we're going to close that parentheses. I'm going to stop here for a moment and mention that you could have just entered in the the 30 times the quantity of 1 minus e raised to the negative 0.16t for that value of y1. But since I had already entered it into the y equals, using the variable key makes this a little easier. Now, I don't want to forget to add the 800, so let's go ahead and do that. Plus 800, and then hit enter. Let's pull that answer down. And notice that this is a decimal, but they wanted us to round this to the nearest gallon. And so our answer then will be 1,220 gallons, which is answer choice D.